words again?
Hello, welcome to Stage 2 of High Desert Brutality 2023, Red Dawn. Yes, this is Red Dawn. Literally, the stage brief went with, you're a student at Calumet High School. You have to start off killing Soviet paratroopers, then evacuating Jed's truck into the hills and kill them as they come searching for you. And that's a fairly accurate stage description. So you were taken down a couple hundred meters to where you had 10 popper targets you had to engage, and they were small popper targets. You engaged those 10, you dropped your magazine, fired one shot at a silhouette to clear your pistol, holstered up, run, jump in the truck, charge your rifle, and then fire at that big target to get points while on the move. And then when you got about halfway back, there's another berm that came up. There was another target there that you could engage. And each time you engaged that target and got a hit, you got yourself a 10-second bonus. And then when you got up to the mountains, you unassed the truck. And there were a series of fighting positions for you made out of railroad ties. You got in them, and at the first position, you had 500-meter targets you had to engage, 3 of them. Then at the second position, you had 3 400-meter targets. Third position, you had 3 300-meter targets. And if you chose to do the DMR option, you had a fourth position to go to, which you can engage at a target about 770, and there was a bonus for that. And now let me sidetrack for a moment and go into DMR. It was not required to have a DMR, but you had the option to take one if you wanted to. And if you did, each of your DMR shots were bonuses that helped you out on the stages that had a DMR option. Now, let's go ahead, take a look at the video, and then we're going to talk about it on the back side. All right, this was my first stage on day 1. And this was my biggest dumpster fire, so let's get into it. Right here, the pistol part goes really well, as you see. That Roland Special I built is performing just fine. No complaints there. Get all 10 hits, drop that mag, boom, get that shot right there. And then I bust over to the truck. Tactically embark, retrieve my rifle, charge it, and give them the go signal. And right off the bat, start launching rounds and get a hit. And I had left my scope on 6 power intentionally. I decided, since aiming was really not going to be that easy with it, I would do the more of a binding aiming or an arms OEG type thing, and it worked. I got 2 hits on this, and according to the ROs, that was about average of the people that got hits on the move. A couple people got 7 and 8 because they had some really good rifles and they had high skill, but not too sad about my performance there on that, you know. Now, here at the first position, I've got to engage 500-meter targets up on the hill, and I'm sorry you can't see them on the video. And I get into this like it's a bunker. As you can see, my head's just barely sticking out, the rifle's just over. I'm engaging 500 meters, and notice I'm not firing right here. The reason for that is each target array, there's a blue barrel next to it to help you find the targets because they are blending in very well. At the 300 and 400 meter lines, you find the blue barrel. To the left is your 3 targets you have to engage. Well, at the 500 meter, you find the barrel, and they're to the right. And on maximum magnification, I'm looking to the left of that 500 meter barrel going, where in the hell are the targets? So, kind of self-sabotage there. Right. The second self-sabotage I have going on is the shooting glasses I picked up for this. My main ones are over in Finland right now. So I just grabbed a spare pair, and they're polarizing. And on this scope, if your head's not at the right angle, the polarization causes the reticle to either disappear or smudge out. And at the crazy angle I'm at, not only is the eye box not correct, and I'm not getting a full view of the scope, what I can see is either a blurry smudge or just non-existent for a reticle, so I have nothing to aim with. And I don't correct my position enough, and it's really crappy. The best thing I've done is I've kicked my firing arm elbow up onto one of the railroad ties to help stabilize, but it really doesn't help. Later in the match, I watched people go through, and the ones who just sat down in there, deployed their bipods on top of the railroad ties, very untactical, but it was the right answer for this stage. And those people who did that got their hits fairly quickly. And that's not to say that other guys who cloned out here didn't get their hits either. Another member of our squad was shooting an FAL with just a simple 3x prism scope on it, and he did very well. Another guy with an AK and 5.56 also did very well on the stage. So the problems you see here are no fault of the equipment, they are the fault of the shooter, and he deserves all the blame, and he accepts the blame. It was an inauspicious start. Let's say it was less than optimal. But I ended up learning a lot about this. And one of the things that I learned is helmets and LPVOs don't play together well. I also self-sabotaged by the way I had my GoPro mounted for this stage. It was also interfering with me getting a good sight picture. So all these things combined just kind of stacked up and made for a slow start, let's just call it that. Time. All right, as I said, less than optimal start. But man, that Red Dawn theme was awesome. And I learned a lot on this stage, you know. I learned about having your scope set up. I learned about getting your position right. I learned about polarizing lenses messing you up. I learned about, hey, what may work with one setup, i.e. my GoPro on a brain exploder mount, works really good when I use it with red dots, and I've used it with red dots and magnifiers. Didn't think it was going to be a problem with the LPVO. Turned out it was, especially since a lot of the angles we were shooting at were an upward cant on the rifle, and that really affected my ability to get into the eye box of the scope, which is kind of small on this one and is kind of with all LPVOs, to be honest. So while this stage was less than great for scoring, having parred out and taking 7 penalties, on the other hand, the lessons learned kind of makes that worth it. But don't worry, things can only get better from here. So please comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned because we got stage 3 coming tomorrow.